Good evening, everyone. My name is Verna Ruffin. I'm the superintendent of schools in Waterbury, and I'm very excited tonight to share with you Waterbury Public Schools long-range facilities master plan. If you remember, many months ago, we hired SLAM to conduct a thorough review of our facilities in Waterbury and to study our schools and to study all of our sites with the understanding that what we wanted to do in Waterbury was to provide the maximum facilities for our students, to create great learning and teaching spaces for our students, and to be able to grow programs in Waterbury schools that was very important to our families, our parents, our communities, our teachers, and all of the people here in the city of Waterbury. To study our facilities and determine where we needed to make changes, where we needed to perhaps expand, and maybe considerations for other major projects so that we could map this out over time. I'm so very pleased with the work that SLAM has conducted in Waterbury Public Schools. We have presented this to our Board of Education. We've also presented this to the Board of Aldermen, and we're excited this evening to present this to all of our community here in Waterbury so that you could see, you could share, you could know the direction that Waterbury Public Schools is headed as we look at long-term goals and improvements for our schools and our all of our various school buildings. So with that, I will turn it over to Kemp, who is the lead consultant that we've worked with, but also his amazing staff that we've worked with along the way as this master plan was created. You will also see and hear from our deputy superintendent, Mr. Darren Schwartz. In addition to that, Rosh Makfor, who is our interim COO, and you'll hear from other members of the team with SLAM. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Kemp.
All right, thank you, Dr. Ruffin, and thank you to the rest of the panel. My name is Kemp Morhart. I am a principal with the SLAM Collaborative. I lead our public K-12 practice, and it's been my pleasure, as well as our team's pleasure, to be working with Waterbury Public Schools on this master plan. With me tonight is Pat Gallagher from our office, as well as Mike Zuba, both of which worked long and hard on this plan. We have a brief presentation we're going to run through that will outline the vision and the purpose of the plan, as well as the process that we went through. And then we're going to highlight the recommendations moving forward with some estimates on costs over the 10-year horizon for the project. Then we'll open it up for Q&A. The vision study purpose for this plan was for the Waterbury Board of Ed to continuously support its mission to inspire and prepare every student to be successful in and beyond school. So we took that to heart. In looking to the future, the board will strive to continue to offer diverse and quality education to all students in environments that support student learning while being fiscally responsible in use of its resources and facilities. The master plan is a roadmap that supports that mission through an efficient use and allocation of resources in response to curriculum and programmatic needs, projected enrollment, school capacity, and overall condition of facilities and infrastructure. So those were kind of our overarching goals for the plan. And that kind of set the stage for some more, a little bit more finer grained goals to guide our planning process and the recommendations. I'll just read through these because they are important. First goal was to address targeted deferred maintenance. Capital renewal items target investments into areas of greatest need as identified by the FCAs, the facility condition assessments, leverage the federal ESSER and ARP funds for projects that are otherwise would not be reimbursable through the state process. And so that's ongoing work. We're going to talk a little bit more about details on some of the projects that have been completed and are currently underway in regard to that first bullet toward the end of this presentation. Second bullet, provide additional pre-K seats and capacity in order to address growing need and provide greater service, looking to go to a 5-day and or a full day pre-K program. Expand the international dual language school facility to support growth as a pre-K to 8 program. For those of you that may be aware of that school, it is currently, I believe it's pre-K through grade 1 currently, and it's growing by 1 grade level each year. And the existing facility is not large enough to be able to accommodate the full pre-K 8 cohort. So that project or that facility does need to be expanded. Support long-standing plan towards more pre-K 8s across the district through conversion of K5s into pre-K 8s while maintaining a neighborhood model. Addressing educational opportunities at the 6 to 8 grade levels by providing expanded opportunities for middle schools to retain highest performing students by building on the success of Waterbury's well-regarded magnet programs at Rotella and Maloney, and reduce enrollment of the comprehensive middle schools to a little bit smaller number. We'll get into those details a little bit later. And then finally, seek opportunities to consolidate facilities where possible, striking a balance between capital asset renewal, cost avoidance, and new construction. A little bit of discussion about the process that we went through to arrive at our recommendations. So this is a diagram that describes our process. The left side of the slide, the first 2 bubbles, blue and green, represent what we call the discovery phase of the project, where we have that visioning and data collection component, the needs assessment, where we have teams of engineers and architects that go out to every school, boots on the ground, review each school in detail to find out and determine the existing assessment of the existing condition and what the potential costs will be to bring those facilities up to current standards. Once we have all that information, inclusive of enrollment projections, capacity analysis, as well as that facility condition assessment and program requirements moving forward, we then get into a planning phase, which we start to develop options for long-range facilities plans, working with an advisory group of the city and developing those plans into a preferred option. Once we have the preferred option, we then put some costs and implementation schedule to that option, and then develop our final facilities master plan report. It is important to recall that this is a 10-year master plan, so it is setting the course for the next 10 years with regard to school facilities. So getting into our recommendations, we first and foremost continue to address prioritized deferred maintenance and asset renewal at all buildings, supplementing with capital improvement funds, state and federal funds, including the ESSER and ARP. We recommend that we renovate and expand the International Dual Language School to accommodate the pre-K to 8 configuration. We are recommending to build a new North End pre-K 8 school, replacing the existing Bucks Hill school. And that was going to be a 4-section per grade facility, or is planned to be a 4-section per grade, pre-K to 8. Build a dedicated pre-K center on the existing Bucks Hill site, either a new facility or a renovation of the existing K to 5 facility to allow for that pre-K program expansion. Expand the Rotella and Maloney magnet schools to house grades 6 through 8, both of them, and renovate as new and in addition to Hopeville, converting it to a pre-K 8 facility. And then I'll leverage some of the available space in the comprehensive middle schools for relocation or expansion of special programs or other district-wide programmatic needs. And one option for some of that space that's available in the middle schools would be to retrofit a small portion of it for a professional learning center, which is a desperate need in the district. So how that takes shape, a little bit more graphically oriented slide here. The way to read this slide, the blue squares represent the K5 or pre-K 5 facilities. And looking at the top, we have Bucks Hill and Hopeville grayed out to represent that those 2 schools are slated to be converted to a pre-K 8 facility. And so they are represented on the bottom as new pre-K-8s into the future. And also, we've represented in the gold in the center 3 of the existing magnet schools to be modified to become a full pre-K-8 contingent. So adding 6 through 8 for Maloney and Rotella, and expanding the International Dual Language School to be a pre-K-8. While doing that, we will tend to draw down the enrollment of the comprehensive middle schools to be more in the 550 to 600 student range. And that would free up some space to either create swing space or also to facilitate other expansion programs at the middle school level. And then finally, pre-K center at Bucks Hill would be developed, either a new build or a renovation of the existing K-5 facility. I'm going to now transfer it over to Pat. He's going to run through a few more of the details for some of the recommendations at each site. Pat?
Thanks, Kep. So one thing that we wanted to touch on as part of our recommendations is the phasing of projects, knowing that these are major capital investments, and so we need to stagger them over that 10-year horizon, both from a budget standpoint, but also just from a project management standpoint. These are going to be big and complex projects, and so running no more than 2 or 3 projects concurrently results in the best outcome. So for phase 1, our initial highest priority recommendations are the International School Pre-K to 8 expansion, as well as the Maloney expansion. And we're working with the district on the initial school construction grant applications for those 2 projects, targeting the June of 2023 deadline. And then should those be successful, then it's a several-year design and construction process when those projects would be built and complete. Going 2 years out from phase 1 is when we would start phase 2. And there are 3 projects within phase 2. The first is a new North End Pre-K-8 on the existing Bucks Hill campus, replacing the existing Bucks Hill Elementary School and providing those 6th through 8th grade pathways, as well as an expansion of Rotella to accommodate grades 6 through 8 as well. And then as part of phase 2, we're also proposing the Professional Learning Center, which would retrofit some of the available space at the middle schools. And then finally, phase 3 is the renovate as new and addition at Hopeville, converting it to a pre-K to 8 facility, and then the Bucks Hill Pre-K Center. So the Bucks Hill Pre-K Center can commence once the new North End Pre-K 8 is done. And then students would then vacate the existing Bucks Hill Elementary School and then allow that current building to either be repurposed or demolished and rebuilt into that pre-K center. I'll go through each project in a little bit more detail just to talk about some of the more specific recommendations. So International School, again, being really our highest priority recommendation, given that the current building isn't large enough to support that full pre-K to 8 configuration. So this is going to go in as a school construction grant application this year. The existing site is a little over 3 acres. We have about 40,000 square feet in the existing school, the former St. Peter and Paul School. And the proposal is a renovation of that existing 40,000 square feet, and then an addition of approximately 40,000 square feet on the northern portion of the site in order to house that full pre-K to 8 configuration and have the necessary core spaces, cafeteria, gym, and the like. And so our kind of near-term steps are to work through that school construction grant application process with the district, looking at some conceptual design options, as well as developing those educational specifications and cost estimates for the project. Our other phase 1 project is the expansion of Maloney to pre-K 8 facility. This was actually quite good timing in that when we were doing this process, we understood that the annex or the St. Anne's School across the street from Maloney was available for lease. And so the concept here is that the St. Anne's School be turned into an annex that could then house grades 6 to 8 at Maloney, and then certainly as part of our next steps, looking at some connectivity improvements between the 2 facilities, knowing that the 6th to 8th students are likely going to have to move to the existing Maloney for some portion of their day, whether that be for lunch or gym or specials. As part of our kind of next steps, we will also be studying the adequacy of the core spaces at Maloney, so gym, cafeteria, the special spaces, and determine if any of those need to be expanded, as well as potential options to expand those at the existing school to accommodate those additional students in grades 6 through 8. The next project is a phase 2, tentatively a June 2025 grant application. This is building a new North End pre-K-8 school. Unlike Maloney and the International Dual Language School, we're fortunate that Bucks Hill is part of a large city-owned campus containing Bucks Hill Elementary School, North End Middle School, and Willoughby High School. And there is room on that campus to support a new building and allow without necessarily disturbing the students that are currently in the Bucks Hill Elementary School. So the vision for this project is to build a new 4-section per grade facility, looking at about 130,000 square feet on a different portion of that North End campus, so that again we can maintain the current buildings and not disturb them during construction. And then once the new building is complete, the students would move from the current Bucks Hill Elementary School into the new North End Pre-K-8 and then continue into a 6 through 8 pathway in that building as well. And this building is intended to not only house the students that are in the Bucks Hill neighborhood, but Bucks Hill Elementary also contains the bilingual program, which serves students throughout the city. So that would be accommodated in the new facility as well. The other second phase 2 project is a expansion of Rotella to accommodate grades 6 through 8. Like the North End Pre-K-8, we're fortunate that this school is part of a larger city-owned campus. And so there's a little more real estate for us to work with when we're looking at potential areas to expand the building, with some areas both to the north and the south of the existing building as areas that could potentially support that new addition to house those middle school grades. And so as part of a conceptual design and due diligence study, we would look at all of those components and determine the optimal locations for those expansions, as well as any cost estimates and detailed cost estimates for a school construction grant. Moving on to our next project is a phase 3 project. So this is a project that's related to the new North End Pre-K-8 in that once the new North End Pre-K-8 facility is complete, the Pre-K Center project can then commence. So right now, we are keeping it kind of open-ended in terms of whether the new Pre-K Center on the Bucks Hill campus is a retrofit of the existing Bucks Hill Elementary School and a renovation, or a demolition and construction of a new facility. That is something that will need to be studied in a little more detail, looking at how much space you need, whether there's any challenges in terms of retrofitting the current building for preschool students, and then weighing that versus the cost of new construction. We're targeting an expansion of the program there from right now it's about 190 students, expanding that to 400 pre-K students. So that would more than double the capacity of that program today, and could also help open up additional pre-K seats citywide. And as part of this project, we are recommending doing kind of a larger campus study of that North End campus, including both the new North End Pre-K-8, Bucks Hill Pre-K Center, as well as some of the athletics improvements that the district is looking to make that support North End Middle School and Willoughby High School. And then moving on to our other phase 3 project, which is Hopeville, converting that to a Pre-K-8 facility. This is another site where it's fairly small. It's about a little over 5 acres, and that includes the Hopeville Park property next door, which can really serve as those ancillary ball fields and play areas that can support the school building. Working with our planning advisory group, it really came to light that the goal for this project will be to preserve the existing parks and fields and to look for expansion both to the south and to the west of the existing school. And then ultimately building that addition that can house grades 6 through 8 and converting that into a neighborhood pre-K to 8 facility. And then one of the other objectives that this is accomplishing is by expanding to pre-K 8, we'll also be adding some pre-K seats to the south end area of Waterbury where that space is currently needed today. And then I believe we have one more recommendation slide that I'll pass it back off. So as the district continues to expand its pre-K 8 programs, both at the neighborhood and magnet level, that is going to reduce the enrollment at the comprehensive middle schools to be a more manageable 550 or 600 per school at the 3 remaining comprehensive middle schools. And we really see this as a tremendous opportunity for the district to leverage this space to expand programs both district-wide as well as programs that are currently in the middle school. So we're targeting some of that space to be used for a professional learning center, which is a phase 2 project. We also know that there's a lot of successful programs currently run either at the middle school or high schools that operate on the school within a school model, whether that's the Academy program at Wallace, the early college high school program at Crosby, the Adam program, or the Waterbury Career Academy manufacturing program, which we need more space. These are all programs that can leverage that space at the middle school and continue to expand. So again, we see that as a great opportunity in that and a lower cost option to expand those programs than that it may just take some retrofitting of existing space rather than building new. Some other potential options, it could be used to expand district-wide special education or alternative education programs, perhaps consolidating the amount of leased space the city uses for some of those programs, using it as swing space for pre-K 8 expansion beyond the 10-year master plan. Should you wish to do additional pre-K 8 projects, you could potentially swing students into that space at the middle schools temporarily while additional pre-K 8 projects move forward. It could also be used for pre-K expansion, and that could again help relocate programs out of the elementary schools and free up space, knowing that we do need some additional space at the elementary level. And then finally, a potential option is should there be a major capital investment needed at one of the comprehensive middle schools, targeted demolition of a portion of the buildings may be something that the district could consider. And I'll pass it back to Kemp to talk about our cost estimates.
Thanks, Pat. So we, as part of our project, we estimated each of these projects and planned for escalation into the future to forecast the costs for the district in the 10-year horizon. This is a summary slide of each of the projects, not necessarily in the order of the phasing. So for example, the international school and the Maloney schools are in the middle of the chart here. Phase 2 would be New Bucks Hill, Rotella, and the Professional Learning Center. So they are organized, I think, more alphabetically here. But you can see that there's a significant state share plan for each of these projects. And the pie chart to the right is a summary of the state share versus the local share for the projected projects over the 10-year horizon. Finally, we're going to just run through some of the projects that have been ongoing and are or have been completed and are currently ongoing using the ESSER and ARP funds. I'm just going to run through these. There's been quite a significant amount of work that has been crafted out of the very detailed facility condition assessments for each of the schools. And Rosh and his team has been doing a great job putting those projects together. So boiler replacements at various schools: Kingsbury, Walsh, Driggs, Washington, Maloney, Rotella, and Tinker, and Dual International, and Generali. Air handling units replacements at various schools, rooftop unit replacements, exhaust fan replacements, duct cleaning at various schools, chillers and cooling tower replacements, building management system upgrades, installation of variable refrigerant flow HVAC systems in all grammar schools, WAMS and Palace Theater system split, which is an important one, and cooling zones in all grammar schools. Some auditorium and playground upgrades include auditorium renovation at Crosby, Wilby, Kennedy, Westside, and Rotella, media center upgrades at various schools, as well as classroom furniture replacement in all grammar schools. Playground upgrades we have playground improvements at 11 schools, including Bunker Hill, Chase, Driggs, Hopeville, Reagan, Rotella, Sprague, Tinker, Washington, Carrington, and State Street. And finally, the capital improvement projects, Bunker Hill and Washington elevator additions, also elevator additions at Driggs, Generali, Tinker, and Wilson. Generali roof replacement, which was completed this past summer. Kennedy, Tinker, and Sprague roof replacement. Floor replacement at various schools, and exterior doors replacement through the district. Lockdown system installation at various schools. Installation of privacy fencing at various schools. Camera upgrades throughout the district, over 1,500 cameras. Installation of new voice over IP phone system district-wide. So as you can see, it's a very extensive list and comprehensive improvements across the district. So finally tonight, all of what you've seen in this presentation, as well as the details of all the facility condition assessments and programmatic reviews and other cost estimate summaries, are summed up and bundled into our final master plan report, which has been delivered to Waterbury Public Schools. And with that completes our presentation, and we can open it up for questions and answers.
Thank you very much, Kemp and Pat and Mike, very much for this presentation. And after you look at all that has already been done and all that we have to do, it's exciting and tiring all at the same time, but so happy to share this with everyone, and looking forward to some questions that may come from the people that are live on this webinar, as well as people who will actually get to see it after it's posted. It has been recorded, and we would want everyone in Waterbury to see and know what has happened and what will be happening in the years to come. And we hope that we have lots of good questions.
Slam, thank you so much for your presentation, and Dr. Ruffin, an incredible heavy lift in projects. This is Jim Rourke from the YMCA. I know that a lot of our high schools have pools. Have there been any assessments on energy costs and savings, such as cogeneration or UV, to try to lower those costs and be able to lower the cost for the electric for those facilities in this plan?
Rosh, I'm not sure if you have a response to that as far as energy analysis. As part of our facility condition assessment, we did review the condition assessment of each of the facilities, including the pools.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Raj Magford, the interim CEO of Waterbury Public Schools. I would like to thank you and welcome you for being here with us this evening. The answer to your question, Jim, back in 2018, 2019, we'll leverage some state funding to upgrade the pools at Kennedy, Westside, and Crosby Wallace. They're up to code. They've been updated. They're fairly new. And as far as the FCA and SLAM study, I don't think they touched that.
Okay, I appreciate that. I think one of the opportunities for review and understanding is just different mechanisms to save money, knowing that cogeneration and some of the rebates that come with that may be able to support us to save dollars moving forward. So thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
For attending, Jim. Appreciate your being here.
No, I thank you for all that you do for our students of Waterbury, and this is an exciting plan. I'm glad I'm able to listen.
Thank you. All our questions? If they are, I want to thank everyone for being here live and everyone who's going to be listening. I hope that those of you that are listening will share with everyone else how important it is to tune in and to stay informed about what Waterbury Public Schools is planning on doing over the course of the next several years, and to see the progress that has been made and the upcoming projects that we already have earmarked to begin. I want to thank SLAM for being here with us this evening, and I want to wish everyone a happy holiday. And thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Everybody.